Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of amazing entrepreneurs such as Heidi Anderson. Heidi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm a little bit cold today, but that's okay. President and CEO of ECINA, ECINA?
Yes. Well, it's ECI, or Electronic Commerce International. ECINA is our web address.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, we Latin people, we look at a letter, which is a bunch of words right there, we just say them out. So ECINA, which is Electronic Commerce International. Is that correct?
Yeah, and then the NA would be North America.
North
because
America.
ECI by itself was not available as a domain name anymore.
Gotcha. And you do payment processing and a bunch of other interesting stuff. Tell us a little bit more.
Well, we've been in the merchant services industry for 15 years. We became a registered ISO directly with Visa and MasterCard in 2002. What that means is we're like the big banks in that we have the direct relationship with Visa and MasterCard. We have their rates. We have everything's the same. The difference is we're a boutique firm. We're just very small. We're very hands-on with our customers. You're not just a number with us. So it's my husband and I built this together, and we are still married.
which is a very good thing.
It is,
because when you're a business partner and you're
right.
also married,
yes.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work.
It does have its unique challenges, but the good news is we have different gifts. I'm more actually the numbers person. I do the proposals. I handle all the financial stuff, which is kind of unusual. And then he's more really kind of marketing person. He should be the one who should be here, but I'm here, and I'm happy to be here.
Do you talk about business after business hours when you're sitting in front in the living room or in the dining room?
Yeah.
You're still talking about business.
Yeah, I actually said
that's cool though.
Yeah, I said we should be able to write off our bed, as office furniture, because everywhere in the house we talk about business. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Before we get into the actual business, Heidi, tell us a little bit about how you got to getting into this business. It's not a everybody is a life coach or a real estate agent,
right.
but this is a little bit of a different niche.
It is a little bit different. What happened was when my husband and I got married, we're just trying to find out something we could do together. I at the time was a QuickBooks Pro advisor, and I was an oil and gas accountant and all that stuff. And he said, "Well, I want to design websites." This was 1999, early 2000.
Oh yeah, well that's challenging back then. Yeah.
He said, "I want to design e-commerce websites," and so I'm like, "Okay." And so he goes and gets Microsoft front page and designs the first website, and his friends are kind of like, "Oh, I see you used a template," but he quickly realized that he was not a web designer. But one of the things he did find was when he was looking for companies to provide the credit card processing for the
right.
e-commerce sites, so that he could do both instead of referring that out. We created relationships with as agents to ISOs. So, like we're an ISO now. Back then, we worked for other bigger companies,
mm-hmm.
and so we were doing that. And we added things like business telephone systems. I was doing my QuickBooks consulting. So we became a small business solutions company, and we did that for a couple of years. And it was going really well, except for everything was a lot of time for money, and a lot of just except for the credit card processing, the residuals just kept building,
right.
and that was nice. We're like going, oh, okay, well, so we kind of carved off a lot of the other stuff that was taking a lot of time and it wasn't quite as financially beneficial,
right.
and focused strictly on the credit card processing, and that's when we committed to becoming an ISO and got registered with Visa and MasterCard. We processed with First Data, and that was July 2002, and here we are.
It was very difficult back in the day to accept credit card payments. I mean, you had to apply mm-hmm. to be approved to take credit card payments. Right. You had to apply with the bank itself, mm-hmm. and the bank would have to approve you, and then only the approved customers would be able
right.
to take credit card payments. But nowadays,
well, you still have to do that with us. You still have to do that to have your own merchant account. There are the third-party processors out there where you don't. They'll take
right.
anybody, and I honestly don't know how they do it. That's that kind of risk. But they have their own algorithms and stuff, and they charge a high price for that. You pay a higher rate across the board for your transactions, but they make it fairly easy. Once you get to a certain level in processing, you really want to have your own merchant account for several reasons. One is the rates. We can you can take advantage of the lower like debit rates and everything that you wouldn't be paying that flat high rate for.
Typically, what are those rates typically?
Well, they do range. Interchange, when we first got in the business, interchange, which is what the issuing banks charge, and everybody starts with interchange, and then it gets marked up from there.
Right.
Back when there was maybe like 4 or 5 pages. Now there's like 70 pages.
Oh, wow.
And from Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and they range everywhere from debit for what they call a regulated bank, a really large bank. The Durbin Amendment, they made it where they couldn't charge more than a little tiny rate, up to a corporate card, which is higher risk to the bank, so it's a higher rate. So it runs between, and then once again, it depends on who you're working with and how much they mark it up, but you could pay 0.5% for debit up to 2.5%, 3% for a corporate card. So it just really kind of depends on who you're working with, but that's the range. So it's really kind of hard when people say, "What's your rate?"
Right.
And people will say, "Oh, it's 0.5%," but they're talking about the lowest possible debit rate. So I like to train merchants. I like to give them, especially if they've never processed, I'll give them like a spreadsheet. Here are the most common interchange rates that you'll see. Here's what our markup is, and so this is what your average cost per transaction will be based on your average ticket, so that they know going into it. They're not going in going, "Well, somebody else told me it was going to be a 1.49." I'm like, "Well, it will be if you take that card."
Okay, and,
Right.
and I think that is provided for a little bit of a confusion from us business owners that want to have some of these devices in our businesses or want to sign up with a merchant individual. It's because even if sometimes we see, oh, that rate looks very low, what they didn't tell you is that you have to sign up and have to pay some kind of monthly fee
Right.
for being part of that, and so it's kind of an interesting thing.
It is, and I said, and we do have monthly fees because we have monthly fees that come to us from First Data.
Okay.
So if a merchant is large enough to where we know for a fact that it's going to cover what we have to pay them for us being in the business, we can work with just being covered by our little markup.
Gotcha. Very quickly, what do we have here?
Well, this is part of the Clover full point of sale system. You can use this in a restaurant. You can use it in a retail store. It comes with a cash drawer. It comes with its own printer, and it all ties together beautifully, and it's a really nice package.
Pretty cool.
If you are there's apps on it, so that you can add apps as you need them. You can add apps that tie your everything to your QuickBooks or your Xero accounting software. You can add apps that keep track of your payroll and your employees. Your inventory. I mean, you can just keep adding apps. You can add gift and loyalty.
Wow.
But they're all like little apps on the screen.
Perfect.
Right.
And you do have a program for nonprofits?
Oh, we do.
Yes.
Well, I developed what's called Credit Cares, and what we do with Credit Cares is we donate a percentage of what we make from the processing. For example, we have an animal hospital that benefits a animal shelter.
Oh,
so
okay.
so whatever the money we make from their processing, I carve off 20% of that and I give it to the animal shelter.
Oh, that's really cool.
And it really, it builds up a nice residual donation for these nonprofits that they don't have to work really hard for.
Well, not only that, but you're building a community, right?
Right.
And that's the whole point of doing this thing, is to be able to build a community, to be able to help the nonprofit, and everybody's helping themselves.
Right. Yeah, it's like a win-win-win. Everybody wins.
You got it. Heidi, as a business owner with your husband, what has been your biggest challenge thus far?
Well, really, probably just the fluctuations in the business. It's kind of like we were doing extremely well. Then the banks, when the banking debacle happened in around 2009,
Sure.
we were the merchant services company for Community Bank of Nevada. So we had 12 branches. We took on a lot of overhead. We had offices. We had employees.
And they disappeared.
And well, when the bank failed, we lost about half our business overnight, and we had to. We still had all this overhead that we couldn't just get out of easily. And so it's one of those things where you really have to build your business to be flexible, and that's what I like about things like what you guys have here with where you're in a space, but you're not tied to this big huge overhead lease.
Correct.
And there you can get a lot of there's a lot of different ways of doing it where if things go bad, you're protected. But if you're not, you can end up with a lot of debt.
Right, gotcha. So is that would be your best advice for somebody that's starting a business? Just look for flexible, or look for flexibility?
I believe so. Just from our experience with it is, if you can keep it, unless you really want to grow. I never had any desire to have 100 employees, or anything like that. To me, I like it being personal. I like knowing my customers. I like being hands-on and knowing what they call, they can get me. I do take occasional vacations, but not very much. but I that's how I like. I mean, to do that, you really do, like I said, you have to keep it flexible and keep your overhead low.
The cool thing about your business is that you are actually right there at the forefront, taking the pulse of what's going on in the economy,
right?
In many respects, right? Because if your billings all of a sudden start being reduced and diminishing, you're like, wait a minute, what's happening out there? And if it is from everybody out there, or mostly everybody, you're like, the economy is not doing well. On the opposite side, if receipts become larger and larger, there's something's going on.
That is true, and it does seem to be getting better. I feel like, and they've been talking about that on the news, just, consumer confidence does seem to be improving, and so we're hopeful, and we've added more new merchant accounts this last month than we've added like the 4 previous months. So there's some good things going on.
We're just buying a bunch of crap we don't need. I think. That's my feeling.
Well, that can happen. And once again, that's about keeping your overhead low, right?
We want to throw it away. The things that we buy, on the average, 6 months. That's the durable time of anything that we buy. And then we throw it away.
Even computers, even cell phones.
Yes.
Expensive stuff that is functionally obsolete within a year or two of buying it.
Phenomenal. By the way, does everybody comment on how tall you are?
Well, yes, of course. But it's funny because we made our tagline for Electronic Commerce International, the height of integrity in payment processing. Because we are the height of integrity, but we are also, I'm 6'5", and my husband's 6'3", and so we're that's our tagline. And I think it fits.
Phenomenal, and love what you're doing, giving back through your Credit Cares program for nonprofits. You're going to have to come back maybe in about a year or something so we can get a feel as to how the economy is doing, because you would be that thermometer right there, that economic thermometer, so how everything is happening out there.
I'd be happy to come back anytime. The next time I'll come back and I can talk about my nonprofit.
Oh, well, let's plug it in real quickly. What is it?
Well, it's called the Foundation to Foster Empowerment.
Yes.
Our mission is to stop the cycle of homelessness and hopelessness for youth aging out of foster care. Because right now they age out and about 40% of them become homeless, in prison, or worse by their 21st birthday. And so we're wanting to help them create better outcomes by giving them safe places to live while they go to community college. Most of them haven't even finished high school, so they can get their GED. It's a startup I've been working on. It's my passion to help these kids. So.
And where can people go? Is there a website that we can go to?
It's www.f as in Frank 2, F as in Frank E.org. So F2FE. .org. Foundation to Foster Empowerment.
That's fantastic, and we will go there and support it everywhere that we can.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate it.
Amazing, man. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. With that, we're out.